More is Republican Congressman and presidential candidate Tom Tancredo, and from Immigrants Without Borders, Elias Bermudez. Mr. Bermudez, let me start with you. As a representative of immigrants, how do you view this? Will immigrants sign on to it, or will they go underground because they have to touch back in their home country in order to get back in?
Sir, Mr. Colmes, I thank you for the opportunity to be here today, and I want to tell you that immigrants will embrace this. This is actually the last hope that we have for bringing people out of the shadows and truly assimilate into this community that for so long they have contributed to the greatness of this country.
Oh, so you like the bill, but what about the issue of having to touch back home? Some have said, well, that's not going to sit well with many immigrants who are going to not trust the idea that they can get back into the country once they go back to their home country.
Oh, the touchback provision is something that I actually wanted in that bill because we want to remove the stigma of illegality by having these people lawfully admitted to the port of entry. And I hope that this touchback provision can be solved by allowing people through a temporary program to be able to go visit their parents. They will do it on their own.
Tom Tancredo, I know you're against this bill, and I know you don't like the provisions for illegal immigrants in this country, but before those provisions can kick in, has to be border security, and they're building a wall and all these other things in place first. So doesn't that give a fuller, more comprehensive picture to what this bill does?
The day after this is passed, anyone who is presently here illegally can get a probationary Z visa. And there's no triggers involved for that. And what you get is a Social Security card, a work authorization card, and an immunity against being deported. Now, that's what you get the day after this is passed. If that is not amnesty, I don't know what is. Later on, there are provisions to go into place before you can get the actual Z visa. But let me tell you, even those are almost a joke.
A joke, but Congressman, you have to go through 8 to 13 years. You got to pay a $5,000 fine, then a $4,000 fine. You got to go back to your home country. You got to prove you're not a criminal. You have to all these hoops you got to jump through, and it's a long-term process.
Listen, who is really going to enforce this is the other issue. Even the things, if we believed that they were actually meaningful, who is really going to? Does anybody believe that this administration or the next will do any better at enforcement? Why can't we just do this? Why can't we simply enforce the laws that are on the books? Everything, or most of the triggers, are actually laws that are on the books today. They're nothing new. Right. They simply have to be enforced, and they're not.
There's more enforcement in here. There's more Border Patrol. There are more strictures. There are more things that have to be done on an enforcement level before these illegal immigrants can even be considered for citizenship on
370 miles. 370 miles of fence has to be there, right? Okay. There are 2,000 miles of border, and we've already approved 700 miles. Go to 18,000 Border Patrolmen? Fine, hire them. Great. We are already at 12. It's not a doubling, but nonetheless, I'm happy that that's a provision. But what I'm saying is none of these are new. We have already approved 20,000 Border Patrol. We did that 2 years ago. Any of these things could be done if you just simply enforce the law today. You don't have to give amnesty to do it.
Well, and Congressman Tancredo, we never built the fence, which the funding is there for it. But Elias, I want to go back to you. Do you believe, and this is a very fundamental question here, do you believe in the rule of law? Because there are people that have been going through this process to come in our country legally that have waited for years. And yet the people that did not respect our laws and sovereignty will literally be given the very thing they wanted. So my question to you is, why should they go to the front of the line? Why should they get that benefit having not respected our laws?
And first of all, the congressional intent here...
No, Elias, answer my question. Why should they benefit having not respected our laws?
The answer is they should not benefit by going in front of the law, and they will not, by having a temporary card to be here legally, will not be in the front of the line.
Elias,
and
they get to stay in the country. They get what they wanted. The people.
They get to stay in this country because of the fact that we need them here. If 12 million people were to walk out of this country tomorrow, which is
Elias,
my wish, by the way, Hannity,
I know people.
We will suffer tremendously. We will suffer tremendously.
Sir, there are people that have been trying to get into this country for 6, 7, and 8 years, doing it legally, that want to come here, and you cannot satisfactorily explain to this audience why people who did not respect our law get to have the benefit of staying here. You cannot satisfactorily explain that.
I have news for you, Mr. Hannity. I have news for you. Out of those people that are waiting, 6 million of them are already in the United States waiting exactly for that moment,
Sir?
and waiting and waiting and waiting. So hopefully, Hannity, we can actually find a solution here. Let's find a solution and
I have
stop
a
bickering
solution.
about it. Let's find a
Yeah,
solution.
it's just
I have-
enforce the law.
Enforce the law.
the law. That's
But,
exactly
And if you
what
enforce the law,
and
if you enforce the law, you're going to be heard in this country.
Wait, stop right there. Hang on a second.
Enforcing the law hurts
Congressman
this
Tancredo,
country.
wait a minute. He said, and if you enforce the law, so wait a minute, this whole issue is about creating a brand new law. We're not going to obey the old one, but we'll obey the new one. I find that hard to believe. Why should anybody have any faith we'll believe the new law when we don't enforce the old law?
It's not going to happen. The only reason they are doing this is...
If you give me the opportunity, I will answer this. Congressman Tancredo, stop the hypocrisy of this situation. Either you want to have a solution, or you want to continue to have the undocumented to be talking about it. We want to get rid of the undocumented. Give them the opportunity to do this. And if you and I can get together and really take them all out, once there is a legal mechanism where they can become legal and they don't obey that, then you and I can
let me
actually
ask Tom Tancredo this question. Congressman, this is an important question for me. First of all, the law is yet to be written. The American people have not had an opportunity to fully scrutinize this. I am upset that people like yourself and Jeff Sessions were kept out of the negotiating here, but Ted Kennedy was invited into this whole thing here.
And La Raza.
And I'm also appalled how they want to push this through the Senate without any committee analysis, any cost analysis, any impact on the health care system, on Social Security and Medicare. They're trying to ram this through in record time. Why are they doing it that way?
Because, of course, the longer it sits over there, the more people learn about it, and the more they learn about it, the more upset they get. Robert Rector, Heritage Foundation, just came out with a study of this. $2.5 trillion is what this will cost America.
You finally have bipartisanship, and nobody wants it. Finally, you got bipartisanship in Washington, and nobody wants the bipartisanship.
It's bipartisan.
They didn't invite him because he doesn't want to work.
Elias, Tom, thank you very much. Thank you both very much for being with us. Coming up, he's no stranger.